Helen,
And I'm Liz,
and we're sisters
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
and this is We Want to Believe.
All right, welcome back. We are to part 2 of our two-parter, Ascension, after Duane Barry.
So, first, an update. If you'll recall in the episode Blood, there was a lot of possibly dubious chemistry. And our friend Katie, who is a chemist, did indeed watch the episode and listen to our podcast episode and has a response for us.
That's
So, we're
amazing.
going to, I know, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to play her response right now. You're going to learn a little bit of chemistry, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Liz and Helen, this is your friend Katie. So I just listened to the episode Blood. I was a little behind, so I just got to it. And you had some chemistry questions. So the rumors are true. I am a chemist, or was trained as a chemist, although not an organic chemist. And I do have some comments on the chemistry presented. So the first thing I have to say is that they say that the compound is an undefined but non-toxic organic chemical. And saying it's undefined, but at the same time you know it's non-toxic and an organic chemical doesn't really make sense, right? Because like you've just said two things about it, right? So the more likely way that they would phrase that, and it is shown later that they have the structure. So if they have the structure, they would probably say, we have found a novel chemical compound with a structure similar to lysergic acid diethylamide, because like it's the FBI. They probably know what LSD looks like, and if they can get the structure, they're gonna notice, oh hey, it looks a whole lot like LSD. So I thought that was kind of silly. Um, and then the question about lysergic dimethrin. So I looked up dimethrin, and it turns out that there actually is a an insecticide or pesticide called dimethrin that seems to be like the like maybe brand name or like the common name for it. It has a structure that is, it is also an organic molecule, but it doesn't look like LSD really at all. Um, But I'm guessing what they're getting at by saying lysergic dimethrin is that it's like you take those two molecules and kind of stick them together, and you get lysergic dimethrin. Now, this is kind of a silly thing because, like, if you stick two big chemicals, like onto each other, like yeah, there's really no guarantee that it's like gonna have the properties of both of those chemicals. So it just seems unlikely that if you stick those two big things together, it's gonna be an insecticide and also going to induce paranoia in fruit flies or whatever they're claiming. Um, and also in people, I guess. Uh, so it seems very unlikely. But in terms of like the producers and the writers of the show, like doing their research, like it's not that bad. Like it does take willing suspension of disbelief, but overall I felt like, all right, this is kind of a reasonable fake science thing to make. So good for them. I also agree with Liz's assessment that the whole idea that these are subliminal messages just seems very far-fetched. Like how do you get like an oscilloscope like in the garage to be sending out messages like that. That's the part of the episode that I thought was like kind of taking it too far. But surprisingly, the chemical stuff is like yes, it's fake, but also it's like interesting and kind of passes that like I'm willing to pretend that that's real for the sake of the episode. Um so yeah, those were my thoughts. And love answering chemistry questions. So yeah, let me know if you have any more. All right, bye.
So yeah, it turns out shockingly realistic chemistry. The subliminal messages, still nonsense, but the
Sure.
chemistry, sort of decent, which
Wow.
pleases me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they've screwed up plenty of things, but they did this actually okayishly. So
Wow.
we'll have to pay attention to like which sciences they do best, maybe.
Oh yeah. I actually just the other day was thinking about how they put an R group in a representation of an amino acid. I was in the shower and I like couldn't stop thinking about how ridiculous that was. So anyway,
I don't know what an R group is. That's okay.
I think I explained it. If you go back and listen to one of our other episodes.
I've been taught what an R group is. I guess I
Yeah.
didn't maintain the knowledge.
In
enough.
short, it's like the variable region on an amino acid. It changes. That's what determines
About that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Ascension.
And then I do have a listener story at the end of the episode.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, awesome. So we start out 11:23 p.m. in DC, and Mulder is in his apartment and he gets Scully's voicemail. And if you recall, Scully was leaving him a voicemail when she was abducted by Duane Barry. So he rushes over there and the cops are already there. And they show us a short little recap of like Duane Barry breaking in and, you know, taking Scully and how she was reaching for the phone and just kind of do a little recap.
Yeah.
So her mom shows up while Mulder is
Scully's
there.
mom.
Yes.
And this is the first time we see Scully's mom, or no?
No, because in Beyond the Sea with her dad.
Beyond the Sea, of course.
Yeah. This is what I wrote in my notes. Zach won't stop asking questions. And then he says, that's okay. I'll shut up. I'll just hear about it next week when I edit it. I was like, okay, perfect.
So do you need to answer any questions that Zach had specifically? Like
not specifically. I can't remember what question. Oh, I think he was asking for like a recap of what was going on. And I was like, you gotta not the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then opening credits play.
Yeah.
And it says, deny everything. Yeah.
Oh, it says deny everything.
Deny
everything.
everything.
The truth is out there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is only the second time. The first time was the season 1 closer with Deep Throat, and it said trust no one.
Yeah.
So I'd like to pay attention to when these occur.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So Mulder is talking to Mrs. Scully, whose first name escapes me.
Mrs.
Yep.
No idea.
She says that she had a dream about her being taken away. And she was going to call Scully, but didn't want to scare her. And so she came over. She ended up, it was like coincidental. She ended up there because she had a dream.
Whoa.
Which is now when I would like to tell a story of I was either a junior or senior in college, and I was taking immunology, and it was our final exam, and I was doing like really borderline in the class. I promise this is going somewhere related.
I'm along for the ride.
Yeah. I was doing like very borderline, so like I really needed to do well on the final, and I woke up to my phone ringing, and it was our mother. And she was like, aren't you supposed to be in an exam? And I was like, oh my God. And I looked at my phone. It was like 8:20 and my exam was at 8:30. And it was like, you know, downtown, and I would have had to take a bus and all this stuff. And she Yeah, she said she just had a feeling she should call me in case I overslept. And I did. I did.
Holy cow.
So I threw
Wow.
on my Wisconsin sweater and drove my car and parked illegally outside of the old biochem
The
building.
Holden sister way.
Yeah.
When we went to
Um,
MATC last week, I was like, I don't know where to park because I always parked illegally when I worked here. So
yeah.
yeah. Oh my God. And you made it there? And
I made it.
did it go?
It went fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than it would have had you slept through it.
Yes, much.
Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Wow.
So I think
See,
it was
I was
like 5 minutes late.
I was just thinking if I had a dream that you were abducted and I woke up and it was very real, I would be very creeped out. I would text you. I'm
Yeah.
not driving. I don't even when you lived closer to me, I would be
I mean,
like,
this was
no.
1994.
Okay, so they can't text.
Yeah.
I was like thinking cars were faster. What does it mean? Oh no, texting technology. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And I could see
Yeah.
not calling back. Yeah, because you're like, it's your one phone and you don't
Right.
have caller ID and it rings in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then we see Skinner holding a meeting and
Mhm.
cigarette smoking man kind of lurking in a corner smoking.
Like he does.
Yep. And Mulder and Krychek are both there. And remember, Krychek is kind of like semi-partnering with Mulder at the moment.
Right.
And they're like planning how to find Scully, essentially. And Mulder brings up the implant. And they keep showing cigarette smoking man and recall that he had said that he can get rid of her at the end of Sleepless.
He's like, she's a problem.
Yep. Yeah. So Skinner.
And I just looked up, I have an interesting fact related to this scene.
Yes.
Cigarette smoking man, this is 1994, by the way, late 94. This is all well and good that cigarette smoking man is doing this, as smoking in federal buildings was not banned until August of 1997.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How gross.
I know. That's like shocking to me and super gross.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, meetings are bad enough. Imagine smoking during one.
Oh, no. That's too awful.
Anyhow, sorry. Continue.
So Skinner orders Mulder to go get some sleep because he's been up all night. So meanwhile, it is now 11:23 a.m.
12 hours.
And it shows Duane Barry driving kind of through the woods on Route 229, and creepy music is playing.
Okay.
And he gets pulled over by a cop. He's kind of driving erratically.
That's right. Oh, God, that's right. He's pulled over. Oh, my God.
Yep.
Scully's in his trunk. Do we know that? That's where she is already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So the cop asks him to turn off the radio, which is when I personally realized that the music was like, he was blasting this creepy music. It wasn't just like background music.
It was like in the scene. Yeah.
And he says he can't because he has to keep going. And he turns it off, ends up turning it off, but he's clearly all like fidgety and in a rush, he says. Mm-hmm. And the officer notices blood on his hands and pulls his gun. And Duane Barry says, "You don't understand. They're waiting for me. I can't be late."
Oh my God.
So Scully, I think, can kind of hear what's happening, knows they're stopped. And so she makes noise or like kicks in the trunk.
Yeah.
And the cop turns to look, but then as he's doing that, Duane Barry pulls a gun and shoots the cop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh God. And it's like you're watching it, the episode is just barely started.
Yeah.
They're going to show Scully getting saved.
Yeah.
You're hoping, but maybe this time she will. Oh.
So they see Mulder looking at footage from the cop car. So like whatever was being recorded from the cop's car shows this occurring.
Yeah.
And the trunk had popped open because Duane Barry, I don't call him Duane or Mr. Barry. Like, I don't know what to.
Yeah, he's one of those people that's first name, last name. Like, has to be.
Yeah. I had a group, we were doing a review game in my anatomy class yesterday, and I always have them come up with group names, and one group decided to be Lil Wayne, And so I kept having to be like, all right, 50 points to Lil Wayne.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So Mulder's watching the footage and they zoom in and you can see Scully in the trunk.
Okay.
So,
oh, good. So he knows she's in there.
Right. So Mulder is listening to Duane Barry's initial interview and him talking about the place where they first got him. And he keeps saying, up, up, ascend to the stars.
Right.
And when Mulder thinks about, presumably, Route 229, he said something about that leads to the Blue Ridge Parkway. So he runs and grabs a phone book and looks it up and sees Skyland Mountain ascend to the stars.
Skyland Mountain, of course. Yeah.
And I recently had to explain a phone book to William. Did I tell you?
Oh my God. No.
Yeah,
Whoa.
William is my 9-year-old. And I accidentally, I can't remember what I was going to say. I accidentally said the word phone book when referring to my phone or something. And he clearly thought I was like just putting words together. And I was like, well, no, do you know what a phone book is? And like, it was just, it was very weird.
I have 2 phone books in my office at work, but it's just for this demo with friction where you interlace the pages and the friction between each page is so big that you can't pull the phone books apart.
Ooh.
Pretty cool.
How do you interlace the pages?
You're just kind of like flippy.
Oh.
Like, and so they're just like overlapped like an inch or 2.
Okay. Kind of like you're shuffling cards.
Yeah. Yeah. Saying flippy probably didn't help too much.
On a podcast.
But yeah, and then then you
Cool.
can have like 2 people pull as hard as they can, or sometimes they do
Cool.
demos where there's like you hook the phone books up to like a big hook at the back of a car and
Wow.
friction. It's powerful.
Yeah.
So
I was just recently talking about how our esophagus resists friction by its design.
Really? It like minimizes friction?
Yeah, to allow the food bolus to pass more smoothly into the stomach.
How does it resist friction? Does it produce something gross and slimy?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. Also bolus, I think, is my least favorite word.
It is a horrible word.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it. Anyway. So Krychak is on the phone saying he'll to someone mysterious, saying that he'll hold him off until they locate her.
Oh.
So then him and Mulder get in the car and they go to Skyland Mountain. And we see like a random shot of them leaving the parking garage and a shot of cigarette smoking man in the garage in a parked car. So Mulder is driving and it shows they're on Route 211, which presumably is near 229. But you know, and he almost falls asleep at the wheel and he starts to drift in front of a truck.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, he didn't go home and sleep, I take it.
He did not.
Daddy's not sleepless like those guys who were experimented on.
Yeah. And Krychek is pissed that they didn't tell Skinner what they were doing and that they just went off by themselves, which seems
Can I ask, do you
fair.
think Krychek was actually pissed or is he acting a part here?
I think he was actually pissed about Mulder falling asleep because yeah.
I can't achieve my objective if I've been hit by a truck.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Mulder thinks, though, that if they did, Skinner would call in like everyone and it would scare off Duane Barry and he might go over the edge or something.
Okay.
He thinks it's safer. I still feel like they should have told Skinner, but you know.
And I don't understand that vigilante.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Vigilante.
Vigilante. Nonsense. Like, don't you want to you're the fucking FBI. You have like an FBI agent's kidnapped. Shouldn't they be pulling out all the stops?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it counts as vigilante because he can like legitimately arrest him. I mean,
okay, that's true, but I guess maybe I mean like lone hero nonsense.
Yeah. So, Mulder's theory is that someone could have given him her address.
Oh my God. I was thinking about that after we recorded our last episode. I was like, wait, how did Duane Barry
She had the tracker.
But
The tracker, remember? He had the
Oh
little
my God, of
barcode thing.
course the tracker was at her house. Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yes, duh.
So they get to Skyland Mountain and they're talking to the tram operator.
And Skyland Mountain, by the way, it's like a ski resort, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he says that he did see Duane Barry, but he wouldn't let him on the tram to get up to the mountain and told him to drive up instead because the tram is closed at the moment.
hmm
And so Mulder wants to take the tram anyway, because it's faster, but the guy said that they just did something to the cable that I didn't catch what it
Okay.
was. And he can't stop Mulder from taking it up, but if it starts to get dangerous, he will stop it and won't be responsible for Mulder's death, which seems all very reasonable.
I guess I feel like can't he stop Mulder from going up because isn't he the one who controls the tram?
Well,
But I guess he's an
yeah,
FBI agent and he can be like,
yeah,
tram at your own risk.
yeah, I think so.
And also, to be clear to our listeners, this is not a tram like in a European city on the street. This
Oh,
is like a sky tram, like a
yeah,
ski gondola, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I would call it like a oh, what are those things? Like, yeah, a gondola or cable car.
yeah,
Oh, well,
it's not a funicular. Cable car. I do see cable car.
okay.
And there's a picture of gondola, yeah, gondola lift. There's a Wikipedia page about them. And they're also referred to as cable cars. And they also, this is interesting. I mean, I guess I find it interesting. There's different types of aerial lifts. There's a gondola lift, which is, I think we thought it was interchangeable with that, and cable car. There's also an aerial tramway, which operates solely with fixed grips and simply shuttles back and forth between two end terminals.
Ah,
So that is what they had, a tram. So it's like a big thing in the sky that
right.
goes back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we took one of these sometime somewhere and we're real
Me and
scared.
you? In Colorado when we went from Telluride or from Mountain Village to
Yes.
Telluride or just kind of Mountain Village on the mountain. Terrifying to me.
Yeah. Did not crazy about it.
No, I took one up a mountain in France as well, like on the border with Switzerland. It did not behave with dignity.
Oh, really?
No.
Were your students there?
No, thank
okay.
God. It just depends on the horse and Adam.
Nice.
So yeah.
So Mulder is gonna get on and he tells Krychek to keep it running and not let the guy stop it.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I remember this.
Yeah. And as Mulder is getting on,
stuff.
the guy yells to not put the speed past 25. But obviously Mulder does not care and is not listening.
Mulder can control the speed himself.
Yeah.
It's got like a little thing.
Okay. But the guy yells, at this speed, the cable can't hold, which is
then why do they make it able to go that speed?
It's a really good point. I don't know.
Maybe it's a model that works for different types of cables.
Maybe.
I'm thinking too hard about this cable situation.
I don't know. I have no answers.
Okay.
Right as Mulder is getting towards the chock, though, Krychek pistol whips the tram guy and then turns it off entirely.
Oh my God. So now Mulder is stuck high up in the air.
Yes. And so Krychek calls someone and tells them that he stalled Mulder. And Mulder starts digging through like the tram emergency supplies and opens up a hatch to the top and starts climbing the top of the tram.
To what end? He's not near anything else, right? Is he going to just like
I don't know.
Monkey bar sort of, or like hand over hand across the rope? Like,
yeah. I mean, granted, like this is not me. Like this is Mulder.
He's in, as we saw when he was in that Speedo, he's in very good shape.
Yep. But
nevertheless.
Yeah, I don't know. So Mulder's doing this and Krychek turns it on again.
Oh God, right.
Mulder,
now he is on top of the tram and it's moving.
Yes. And he starts to slide off and is hanging on very precariously. But he makes it back in.
And see, maybe this is why I've been afraid of these things, is in my head, I think this is like, you have like a 50-50 chance of this happening if you ride on one.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I've only done it a handful of
Yeah.
times, so statistically it's totally plausible. I just haven't hit those times yet.
So he does get to the top. Hold on, I see on. He does get to the top, and Duane Barry's car is there, but it's empty.
Oh.
And he sees in the trunk bloody ropes and Scully's cross necklace.
Oh, God.
So he's standing there, and it's starting to get dark outside, and he sees a sudden bright light and kind of flying overhead. And I think he later says too something about a helicopter. Like, I think it's pretty clear it's probably a helicopter, but it's not explicitly stated to be such. And then he hears maniacal laughing and runs towards it. And
oh my God, I remember this scene.
Yeah,
now.
He's all like happy and celebrating and, excited they won't be taking him. And so Mulder cuffs him, and Duane Barry says they took her. And as they're kind of talking and stuff, and another big bright light goes overhead. Mm-hmm. And Duane Barry kind of freaks out by the bright light, but it's this time like 100% a helicopter.
Okay.
So then it cuts to them inside, and Duane Barry is kind of getting patched up by a paramedic, and the police are out searching for Scully. And so then the paramedics leave, and it's just Mulder and Duane Barry left in a room. And Mulder is asking what happened, and he says that they walked up to the mountain and they came and took her. And that was the deal, her instead of me. Mulder asks how he kind of got in his semi-injured state, and he says that his burns are from the ship. And so they're talking, and
he's like burned.
Yeah, he's got some, we later find out, second-degree burns on his.
Okay. So like implying it's like radiation or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's occurring to me, everything he's saying so far, he's not saying if aliens took her or if the government took her, or like, their secret thing.
So Mulder is standing there, and there's a window to the hallway behind him. And you see some guys in suits standing there. And Duane Barry starts freaking out and says, "That's them. You have to stop them."
Oh, like the silhouette thing, like how we saw the aliens. Maybe.
But these are like 100% guys in suits.
Yeah. So you could read it as, oh, he's just seeing them as the aliens because they're standing similarly, or maybe this is what he's seen all along.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so he's all agitated and stuff. And so Mulder kind of subdues him, and then ends up getting pretty pissed at him, understandably, and asking if he hurt her. And like he sees some of like Scully's blood on him and stuff. Asking what happened, and he starts to choke him. And gets pretty far along in the choking process.
Mulder, I was thinking, as soon as you said it's him and Mulder alone in a room, I thought, this is not good.
Yeah, generally inadvisable. Yeah. Mulder eventually calms down and walks out, and like we see Duane Barry, like as Mulder's walking out, him kind of like breathing heavily and adjusting, but like he's fine.
Oh my God, I think I just remembered something. Okay, keep talking. I think I just remembered something.
So Mulder walks out and sees Krychek and tells him that no one goes in or out of the room. So no one is to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Scully asleep on the ship, and
oh my God, we do. I didn't remember that.
I should say the presumed ship. We see Scully asleep somewhere with kind of faint glowy lights. And there's a drill coming down from the ceiling.
Oh no, I didn't want you to have to see this.
No, there's no Donald stuff. Her eyes pop open then. And then it shows her stomach being pumped up with air. There's a
Oh, I remember seeing that and wondering, were they like, what sort of weird shit can we do because Gillian Anderson's pregnant?
yeah. I mean, she looks pregnant. So there's
Yeah.
like something is happening to her stomach. There's a hissing sound. So I don't know if it's supposed to be filling up with air or if it's filling up with
Ugh.
other things, but her stomach is then large.
Yeah.
So then we see Mulder going back in the room, and Krychek is there talking to Duane Barry.
Okay.
And so Mulder goes back, and Krychek was talking to Duane Barry, but then comes out of the room and sees Mulder and confronts him and saying, like, you know, I understand you were pissed off, but like Krychek is pretty pissed off too, because Mulder was clearly choking Duane Barry. Like that clearly, you know. And Skinner shows up, but then suddenly we hear a shout to call paramedics.
Pause. Was there ever any follow-up with what happened to the gondola controller man that Krychek pistol whipped?
There will be.
Oh, there will be. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, kind of. So they go back in, and Duane Barry appears to be in cardiac arrest or something. Those are my words, not theirs. He's clearly in some sort of state.
Yes.
And then we see it cut to the FBI morgue. And Mulder is just standing in the autopsy suite staring at Duane Barry's corpse, which is wrapped up, which, like, you know.
Yes, that's what I suddenly remembered was like Mulder leaves and theoretically no one except Krychek sees Duane Barry alive, and Krychek's like, you choked him. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a doctor who isn't Scully, a pathologist, comes in and is a little annoyed.
If it was, though.
What's that?
Anyway, it was Scully.
Yeah.
Because it's a doctor who isn't Scully. Anyway.
And I feel like she has reason to be annoyed because some guy is just standing in her autopsy suite. That would.
He's not like invited.
Okay. No, he's just there.
Okay.
And so she says that she found contusions on his larynx, second-degree burns on his face, and she put the cause of death at asphyxiation.
Oh.
And she says that.
Oh, that's not what happened. Well, okay, Liz. Yes. Okay.
So she says that they're still waiting for the toxicology report, though, and that will be coming from the military. And he's kind of like, military. And she explains that she's a military pathologist because there apparently wasn't an FBI pathologist available.
Okay. So why is the military doing the tox scan then?
Well, so she's a military pathologist. So presumably she would have sent it to military labs.
Okay.
And she actually said something about how the Quantico is under military jurisdiction or something.
Okay.
So Krychek is then in a parking garage, and he gets in the car with cigarette smoking man.
Of course he does.
Yep. And he asks what he should tell Skinner, like what is his line? What does he say on his report? Yeah. And he says, cigarette smoking man says to just confirm whatever Mulder says and to keep his trust for now.
Okay.
And Krychek says, well, why not eliminate him? And he says that he doesn't want to turn this into a crusade, that by getting rid of Mulder, that would turn whatever this is into, a bigger deal than he wants it to be.
And I do remember them talking about this with the idea of eliminating Mulder in season 1, that like, we want to watch him and know what he's up to. And that's better than.
Yeah. I still feel like they're wrong.
I agree. I think they've made the wrong call. Yeah. I think they've made the narratively convenient call, but I think they should have him killed if they really want to do some good work there.
Yeah.
Because no one else seems to really give a shit except like the lone gunman and people like that.
Right. Yeah. So, now, we're not going to get into it now, but there may be other reasons for wanting to keep Mulder alive, if you think about it.
I guess I got to think longer. I don't know. Oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah. So we see Skinner then reading the autopsy report, and Mulder admits he choked him. but that he was alive when he left. He doesn't think that was the cause of death. And Skinner says that OPC wants him and Krychek to take a lie detector test. And Mulder says there's another plausible cause of death, that he could have been poisoned by some sort of small injection. And he says that the autopsy is incomplete because the military covered up the toxicology findings. And Skinner is like, well, why would they do that?
How does Mulder know they covered it up?
Well, he's saying because there was no tox report with it, or it was a clean one. He thinks that.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Okay, that's his theory.
Yeah.
All right.
And there's some other guy in the room who's like, why would they do that? Why are you so paranoid, Mulder? Which I feel like, I mean, I love Mulder. I'm on his side, but also like that seems like a really fair question to someone being like, the military got rid of the toxicology report. Like,
yeah, when they're thinking this is like, if you look at this from the outside, you're like, this dangerous person named Duane Barry kidnapped Scully and now she's missing. And you're like, probably the military changed the toxicology report. Yeah.
So Mulder asks to borrow Krychek's car. He calls him Alex, which is real weird.
What'd you say?
He calls him Alex, which is just real weird here. I mean, that's his first name, but yeah.
It'd be really weird if it wasn't his first name. That's his nickname for him. But why doesn't Mulder want to use his own car?
I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fine.
So he goes to Senator Matheson's office.
Oh, yes. He loves Bach.
Yes, he does. And X is there. And
why is it that you get every single X episode? I haven't seen him yet or heard him or anything. And you've got 3 episodes in a row with X.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And I know he's not going to be in the next one.
Yeah. No.
Anyway.
He says that it was a wasted trip, that Matheson can't help. So, like, Mulder, he's not going to see him, essentially.
Oh, so it's not like he sees Max and Matheson. He sees just X.
Mm-hmm. So him and Mulder are just kind of talking then. And X says, well, why would they kill Duane Barry if there was nothing to hide? So clearly they're hiding something.
Yeah.
And he says they only have one policy: deny everything.
Ooh.
And so Mulder gets back in the car and he sees cigarette butts in Krychek's ashtray.
Does he see what brand they are?
Maybe he knows cigarette butts better than me looking at the TV.
Okay. I guess I don't know. I think I pictured it might say on like the little wrapper or something. But no.
I don't know.
But still, he sees them and he knows that Krychek isn't a smoker.
Right. So he goes back to Skinner's office and Skinner is reading something that Mulder has wrote.
He has written.
Yeah, scolded. What's happening? Skinner is reading Mulder's report and says, well, this is a pretty serious allegation. That he's claiming that Krychek was hired by an organization to obstruct this case. And Skinner is pretty skeptical, but he calls in Krychek. Mm-hmm. And Skinner's like, do you have any proof to go with this theory? And so Mulder shows Skinner the cigarettes from Krychek's car and tells them how...
And that does not seem like a convincing case. Yeah. Once again, again, we know Mulder's right. Yeah. But again, thinking about it from the outside.
And so he tells them, too, that Krychek was the last person to see Duane Barry and the tram operator who disappeared. So...
He disappeared. Okay. All right.
And Mulder says that he saw a helicopter in the area before he got to the top of the mountain. And that he thinks that Krychek sold out Duane Barry and Scully's location to someone, possibly the military or a covert government organization. Whoever the man who smokes those cigarettes works for.
Ooh.
Yeah. And what I find interesting, I made note of this here, that the man who smokes these cigarettes thing, if I went to a meeting with one of my supervisors and there was regularly just a guy sitting in the corner smoking, I wouldn't be like, oh, hi, I'm Helen, and you are?
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you weren't smoking, you'd be like, who's this man who just hangs out during our
Yeah,
meetings?
yeah,
You introduce yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not normal meeting behavior.
No,
And even if cigarette smoking man's going to be weird about it and not answer questions, why isn't Mulder
yeah,
asking?
yeah. Hmm.
That is such a good
Hmm.
question that has never occurred to me.
Yeah, there usually aren't like people. I mean, like, granted, I don't work for the government, but I feel like,
I do. I work at a state school. So, basically the same.
that's true.
Yeah, state government, but still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
I would say zero mystery people in our
Yeah.
meetings.
Now, maybe, you know, maybe I don't know. I'm going nowhere with that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about,
No.
I'm like, well, sometimes people do zoom in and there could be someone hiding there.
Yeah. I mean,
That's not the point. The
yeah.
question isn't, would someone secretly attend my meetings?
Right.
The question is, what would I do if I saw someone not secretly attending?
Maybe Mulder thinks that he should know him, like the way that like you don't want to say introduce yourself when you've like already met someone a bunch of times, and he's like, oh, I should really know that guy's name.
There's this woman, I can't even bring myself to identify her by name. Because just on the off chance that she hears this, I'd feel like such a jerk. But I've met this woman so many times, and Adam will be like, why did you just introduce yourself
Oh, no.
again? And like, then I would be like, then it got a little better. And I'd be like, is that so-and-so over there? And he'd be like, yes. And so now we're at a point where he's always like, that's her, right? And I'm like, yes, I've got it now. But like, yeah, like a lot. And it is very awkward.
Yeah.
So he's just avoiding that awkwardness. Yeah.
For a very long time, I think I have it straight as of yesterday. I kept confusing two professors.
Oh.
And that was occasionally troublesome. I would have to do some real quick backpedaling sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah, I imagine like what you say to them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Skinner's phone rings, and someone is saying that apparently Agent Krychak didn't show up for work that morning, and his number was disconnected. So Mulder's pissed that Krychak just gets to disappear into the woodwork, which, like, fair.
Yeah.
And he says, who are these people that can kill with impunity? Without impunity? Which one is it?
Is that what Mulder says?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. What without impunity? Let's see. Yes, that means with no unpleasant consequences, without impunity.
Yeah.
So in other words, you might say, who are these men who kill with punity?
Great. So Mulder says, well, what are you going to do about this to Skinner? And Skinner says, the only thing I can do as of right now, I'm reinstating the X-Files.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I can't believe I still get such a rush from hearing that, and I'm not even actually watching the episode.
And he says that's what they fear the most.
Yeah, Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
What does he say?
That's what they fear the most.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then we see Mulder at a park, and Scully's mom shows up to meet with him and says that she had the same dream again the night before, and she says it scares her, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And Mulder says it's probably scarier when you stop having the dream, which I feel like is both true but also insensitive.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, oh, it's scary for you? Well, it could be so much worse.
Yeah. Wait until you stop having it.
In the future. Yeah. You think that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of a dick move.
Yeah. I think he's trying to empathize, but he's not doing solid work of it.
Yeah, that sounds true. Okay.
And he wants to give her the necklace. So he found Scully's cross. Scully's
yeah.
Cross
and
necklace.
by the way, when you mentioned that Mulder found it in the car, I had this split second of thinking, oh no, how does she protect herself? And then I was like, Duane Barry, not a vampire. And I moved on. So.
And he said that was something he never understood about Scully, that if she was such a skeptic, why did she wear that? His mom says that she gave it to her on her 15th birthday, which I think is incorrect.
Really?
I feel like we later see her get it on Christmas. But we'll have to TBD.
Yeah. And we know Scully's birthday because of that episode where her old partner or her old teacher that she had possessed by that unpleasant man.
Yeah.
And they talk about Scully's birthday, and it's not December 25th.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to, maybe I'm thinking of a different present.
I'm picturing a scene where she's in like a nightgown
with her sister.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she gives it back to Mulder and says that when he finds her, he can give it to her. And then we see Mulder at night on the mountain, just kind of looking at the stars. And
oh wow, I found Skyland Mountain.
Yeah, wow. That's it. Next week is the episode 3, which is not known to be good.
No, it has a reputation as like one of the worst episodes of the X-Files ever.
Yeah,
and I get to watch it.
Yep.
And I was confused for a second because I was like, it's not episode 3. I think it's episode 6 of this season, but no, it is called 3.
It is called 3.
And what I feel like is, so Skinner reopens the X-Files, and then I'm pretty sure the first case is just like super stupid. So we'll see.
And then they cancel it again because they're like, well, this is pointless.
Yeah. But yeah, looking ahead, I know I'm going to see X. And then the one after 3 is One Breath, where I believe that's where Scully comes back.
Oh, so no kidding.
I'm like, damn it, Helen, you got really good luck here.
Do you want me to do 3?
No, I'm okay. It does have vampires. I feel like, I mean, I like co-led a tour all about vampires.
Yeah.
So
you can probably give us some.
Also, I think it takes place in LA, and I was just in LA.
Okay.
So I'll bring my LA expertise from being there for 2 nights ever.
Yep. Awesome.
If there's donuts. I was thinking about stand-up comedy and donuts at the same time. As you do.
Yeah. Listener story.
So let me say this. It is a listener story.
Okay.
Because it is a story from a listener. It's not exactly I'll just tell you. Our friend Katie, again, the one who you had chemistry from earlier in the episode, listeners, she was traveling recently, and her Uber driver driving from the airport to where she was going, or vice versa. I think driving her back to the airport was telling her a story of something he had happened to him. And that is the story that she shared with me. So it's not her own direct experience. And I don't know that she was necessarily intending it to be shared on our podcast.
Oh, will this be okay with her?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told her to share it. And there's a reason I want to share it.
Okay. Real quick, I want to say that we have shared a story of Katie's before, though. She is the one who felt a ghost like holding her hand or something, right?
In her hand during a ghost tour.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God. And of course, you all know her because she guest hosted an episode with us when I was in Berlin last summer in the season 1.
Why don't I remember that?
I don't know. She was with me. It was when me and her.
That's right. You were both in Berlin, right?
Both in Berlin.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about that. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And she is interested in the future, especially for any episodes with lots of chemistry.
Yeah. Awesome.
And she brings a fresh viewpoint because she never watched X-Files.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. So what's the story?
So the reason I tell this story is that where she was for work is Galveston, Texas.
Okay.
Which is the exact place I had a story about from Amanda's aunt a couple weeks ago, where the ceiling fan kept moving in the Airbnb. Amanda's aunt-in-law noticed it was moving. And what I said was I think that if it's foggy, it's because the plumber showed up and you had to leave.
Oh.
And so I would kind of told this story to a photo of Katie. So the thing I find interesting is that, so Katie had not yet listened to the episode Blood, which is the one that she commented about and is the one that I talked about Galveston on.
Oh, okay.
if you go back and listen to the episode Blood, the phrase I used to describe Galveston is that it is chock-a-block full of ghosts.
Okay.
And Katie began this story by saying, so Galveston is apparently chock-a-block full of ghosts.
Oh my God, really?
So I was like, this is incredible.
Whoa.
And yeah, it's not just very haunted. It is chock-a-block full of ghosts.
So what's this? Is there more?
So
or
the
is it
story is her Uber driver
Uh-huh.
does Uber part-time, and
does what?
he does Uber. He drives for Uber part-time, and his full-time job is being like an in-home caregiver
Okay.
to this guy. And the guy is obviously, he's an in-home caregiver. He's not in good health, and he's in a big, very old house. What I said previously, just for some other Galveston info, there was this really super deadly flood in 1900,
Oh, right.
and so that's like ghost-based theory there. And so this guy is living in this big old house with this man who needs care, and he'll hear him, I believe, in the night or maybe at all hours, moving around in different areas of the house, and just kind of know that, oh, he's in this room, he's in that room. And then he'll find out the man's like been in bed asleep the entire time.
Oh,
And he can just hear, like, he just can feel that there's presences moving around the house,
Whoa.
and in a way that you can just kind of, tell
Yeah.
by your ears. Oh, so-and-so's walking around upstairs. Oh, somebody's coming down the stairs. Oh, somebody's doing laundry, whatever. That it's just that sort of noise, like, oh, there's another person existing in the house. And then finding out, no, he hasn't moved at all.
Whoa.
So yeah. And so, like, normally random ghost story from Uber driver,
Yeah.
but the fact that it's Galveston again,
Yeah.
in specifically chock-a-block full of ghosts,
That's really
I just needed to
interesting.
share that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe we need a trip to Galveston. I hear it's lovely.
Yeah, I think our podcast needs to blow up
Yeah.
hugely, so that we have so much money, and then we quit our jobs, and then we go to Apple Fest
Yep.
in Pennsylvania, and we go to Galveston,
Yep.
and other places.
Yeah. Roswell.
Maybe Vancouver, because they filmed in Vancouver.
Sure.
I bet there's a tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vancouver, Roswell.
Oh, we should go to Roswell. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be like, hey, everybody, we're on the road, and we'll do like live shows.
Yeah.
And more than, I don't know how many listeners we
Katie and
have.
our mom.
And we currently do.
No, we
Yeah.
have more than that. But thanks, guys.
Wait, I think I missed what you said. Who did you say?
Oh,
Did you
Katie
mention
and our mom is what I said.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are
I
more.
mean, they're two of our most reliable
Yes.
listeners.
Yes.
And I think I'd say, oh, we should have our mom on as a guest, but I feel the episodes might be too scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to recommend quick is a podcast I just started listening to called Ghost Story.
I was going to recommend a podcast I just started listening to, but tell me about Ghost Story.
Ghost Story is done by an investigative journalist who grew up in a house that he thought was haunted, and turned out there was more occurrences of spooky stuff in it from other residents. And then finds out that his wife's great grandmother used to live next door and was murdered there.
No.
So I only have listened to the first episode so far, but I'm very into it.
That sounds so
Yeah.
good. Is it really scary?
It's spooky, I would say. It's not scary, but
I'm trying to bring spookiness solidly into November.
sure.
Like with Thanksgiving, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
Do I want to get together with family? Sure, but I don't care about Thanksgiving
Yeah.
as a concept.
Yeah.
Certainly not. I want more spookiness.
Yeah,
So
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
I'll listen to that. And the one, I think I've told you about this, but I'll recommend to our listeners. It's called It's a Clue, and it is two adult sisters going back and rereading Nancy Drew novels and discussing them, and it's fantastic.
That's great. I've only read one Nancy Drew book.
Which one?
I don't remember.
Fair enough.
This was like, I think I was like 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's very good. I read tons of them, but I haven't read them in years.
Okay.
And like, I remember they talk a lot about bungalows, and like there were a lot of bungalows.
Really?
Yeah, and the podcast hosts are trying to figure out like what makes something a bungalow.
Oh no, it's
And,
the
like,
design. It's a bungalow is a specific type of house.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, yeah, because like there's like the bungalow mystery, and on the cover of it is a shack. And so one of them thought this whole time that a bungalow was another word for shack.
Oh, sure.
But shack and bungalow are two different things.
Yeah.
It's just a misleading cover.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
so a bungalow, it's just like, is it just like a one-story house?
Yeah, it's a one-story house that has one room after another. So it's like long, where like you walk into one room and then go to the next
Like
room
a
behind
railroad
it.
apartment kind of?
Kind of, yeah, kind of. That's my understanding, at least.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't
We're not
bungalow.
experts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next week you'll talk about 3,
I will.
and week after maybe we'll get Scully back.
Yeah.
Cool.
And please rate us, subscribe, tell people about us, because how else are we going to go on our fabulous tour and change our theme to 2 former professors who are now full-time podcast hosts and sisters, former scientists, now podcast hosts,
Yeah.
and lifelong X-Files fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good for that.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
That sounds fine to me.
Yeah. All right. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.